Hi, I'm Alvina Ling.
And I'm Grace Lin.
And we're book friends
forever!
We're childhood friends
who grew up to be
a children's book editor
and an author and illustrator. Yay!
Welcome to Book Friends Forever. This is the Pivoting and Family with Michele McGonigle DeYoung episode.
And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and YouTube at bookfriendsforever_podcast.
So as you can tell from our episode title and video, if you're watching this on a video, we have a special guest joining us. So my former colleague and the very first producer and editor of this podcast, Book Friends Forever, Michele McGonigle DeYoung. So welcome, and it's so great to see you, Michele. Do you want to introduce yourself a little bit more for our listeners?
Sure. We're going to dive into my previous career, but currently I am a parent, family, and relationship coach, certified, and I'm also a parenting educator, and I'm getting a Master of Science in Marriage and Family Therapy. So I am all in to relationships and healing from the inside out so that, when one person is feeling great and wonderful and full of love and hope, it trickles out from there. So that's my mission, is just to change the world one person at a time.
That's
wonderful. What I'm up to these days. Yeah.
You look great, by the way. You look very relaxed and,
Thank you. Oh, I am. Yeah. Working for yourself, there's something to be said about that.
Yes. Well, the two of you work for yourself, kind of.
Yes.
So.
I was going to say, I don't feel that relaxed. I don't know. I'm not sure if I don't think it's working for yourself. I think it must be your relationship parenting thing that's helping you relax.
Yes, exactly. I think you're right. Because, you're an author, and that's high stress. For sure.
So we do always start with catching up with each other's lives. And so, Grace, I want to know what's been going on. How have you been?
Yes. So for those who are watching on YouTube, you will notice that we have microphones for the first time because since we changed over to showing video at the same time, our audio quality has gone way, way, way down. So we're trying this as an experiment using microphones and hoping that our audio quality goes back up.
Well, I wonder, for those of you just listening, you should let us know if you hear a difference, an improvement.
Yes. So if you do hear a difference and an improvement, or not an improvement, I think tell us whatever. We just need to know. So let us know if you notice a difference or don't notice a difference with these microphones. Anyway, so what have I been up to? I just have been working. I think last time I was saying I was overwhelmed with work, and I'm still pretty overwhelmed with work. But it's not just the book work. It's the fall. So all these little things that I thought were such a great idea in the summer, they're all coming together now. And you're like, wait, it seemed so far away before. And now they're all coming together now. So I had my first, school visit, but at Bryant University. It wasn't really a school visit because it wasn't with kids, but it was with university students. So I had my first but I guess for lack of better words, event at Bryant University, and that went really well. But I could feel the rust, after you haven't given these speeches for a while. It's really interesting for me, at least as a speaker. If I when I'm on tour, by the end of the tour, I'm pretty good, and I feel like okay, but then it goes away within a month, and then it's it's the creaky wheel, oh yes, this is how you talk to people. It's so hard to get back into that. So I did that. I actually launched a new podcast with a librarian.
Congratulations. You're cheating on this podcast. Just kidding.
It's very, very different. So I don't really think of it as cheating. It's more it's like a what do they call it? It's a
side hustle?
Complementary relationship.
Yes.
So it's with a librarian, Connecticut librarian and teacher, Melissa Tom, and we are trying to promote the Nutmeg middle grade nominees in the Nutmeg State Award because she's from Connecticut and the Nutmeg is their state award. And so it's all about that. And we have a really simple setup where it's like in the beginning of the month, Melissa and I talk about the book. In the middle of the month, Melissa talks about how teachers and librarians can use the book in their classrooms. And at the end of the month, I do a live webinar with the authors where kids and teachers can ask their questions. So basically, it's like a kids ask authors session. So, which
That's
is
fun.
where this, yeah, that's
Wow.
where this podcast came from. So, we it's been a soft launch, so I'm not sure how well the first webinar will go, but I feel like the even if we don't have a lot of people who attend the webinar, I feel like the content will be evergreen and people will always be able to see it later. So our first webinar will have Janae Marks and Leslie Connor. And so I'm glad that they are joining us at the end of the month for that. And if you are interested to ask either of these wonderful authors any questions, just go to the website, thebookishstate.com, and you can get more info there. And the last thing that I've also been working on is that we just made available the deluxe gift box sets of The Gate, the Girl, and the Dragon from High Five Books. I think, Alvina, we talked about this earlier, where
Hmm.
I had these
Oh yeah.
beautiful handmade candles with that look like a dragon pillar, and so
Wow.
it's basically a gift box with all these with the enamel pin and the sticker and these and a print and these candles and the book all in one box that people can buy as holiday gift and things like that. And they're available now. And there's only like I can't remember how many there's available, like 40 or something like that.
Wow.
So
I bet you'll sell
hopefully,
out quickly.
I
Yes.
hope we do. That would make me feel good. It's so hard to tell about these things. So
Yes.
anyway, that is what I've been up to. How about you?
I guess I'll dive in. I have been doing not as I feel like maybe not as busy as you. I think last week I talked about how it was our last summer Friday week. Michelle, you remember those?
Yes.
So I did host a happy hour at my apartment just to make sure I took advantage of the last half day Friday, and it was really fun. And it was mostly mostly Hachette people, but a few other people who don't have day jobs or could come over like right at 5. So that was really fun. I also went to a concert on Wednesday. We're recording this on a Friday, which is a little bit different. And it was mainly because Grace couldn't record on Wednesday, but then also I realized, oh, I can't either because I'm going to an Indigo Girls Melissa Etheridge
Wow. Yay.
Oh,
um,
yay.
concert at Radio City Music Hall, which is right across the street from
Nice.
our office. And it was wonderful. I
That's
wouldn't say
cool.
I'm a huge fan of either. Steven is a huge Indigo Girls fan. But I like their music and they put on a great concert. But I have to say I was a little bit naive because I thought, oh, their fan base are mostly middle-aged by now people. So they'll start right on time and then they'll probably end relatively early. Like I really thought, oh, they're each gonna maybe sing for an hour or so, and so we'll be out of there by 10. It started at 8. And it did start right at 8. Like in fact, it was like 7:59 when like the lights went down. So I thought, oh, great. And then, but they went all the way till like 11:30.
Oh, wow. Good
So
for
I was,
them.
yes, so I
Yeah.
was very tired the next day.
But yeah, that's late for me.
Yes, I mean it's my bedtime is usually around 9 or 10, so that was
Yes.
rough, but it
Agreed.
was but it was still fun. But other than that, I just feel like it now just feels like fall is here, and my inbox has been over full, and just getting back into the swing of things. So, not that we were like totally quiet in the summer, but yeah, we're back at it. Michelle, how about you? How have you been?
This is the first full week of the children being back in school,
Hmm.
so getting
Ah,
back into that routine has been interesting. My sleep cycle is getting up at 8 and going to bed at midnight, so now I have to
Mm.
adjust that. So
Yeah.
getting used to that, I am preparing my first free workshop
Hmm.
coming up. So I'm getting all the material together. It's virtual, so that'll be fun, and just creating other workshops that I can share hopefully virtually more often, and then maybe recording them like, something like this, and then posting them to my website so that people can just access the information as they need it. So
That's wonderful. And
all things in
what's
Hopper.
the topic of your first workshop?
It's five powerful shifts for more meaningful parenting.
Hmm,
So, parenting with mindful intention, and that's my approach to all of this. And it's really just five simple things you can apply immediately from walking out of the workshop. So,
that's great.
yeah, I've tested it a bit in other areas, and it's been very well received. So we'll see with a larger group what it looks like.
Mm.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, great. Well, let's just dive in. And since we do talk about book publishing a lot on this podcast, and we've been doing a publishing curriculum series, which this isn't really, but I just thought since you did work in publishing for a long
Yes.
time, let's just start there. So, how
Okay.
did you break into the publishing industry?
Ah.
And did you start working in audio, or were you in a different department?
Yes, my first job very right out of college was at a record label.
Hmm.
So audio, and I was in bands, and I recorded our own stuff. So I was always immersed in audio. But I actually wound up at Talking Book Productions, which is no longer around. It was a production company that did audiobooks for all, I don't know, what are we up? It was Major Five then. I don't know where we're at now. Major Four, Three,
We're still
uh,
Big Five, but I think
Big
it went
Five.
to Big Six and back down to
Oh,
Big
back to
Five. Yeah.
Well, so we did books for them. I was there for 5 years, and I really got my chops in producing and sound editing, sound design, directing. From there, I went to Audible for about 18 months, and immediately, so I had worked with what was then Time Warner, which became
Hmm.
Hachette Book Group, and I knew the people in the audio division there very well because we did a lot of books for them. And so when that job came up for the head of their production group, I jumped at it, and yeah, there I landed. I was in the industry for 20, about just under 25 years, and I was at Hachette for 17.
Oh
So
wow. Yeah.
yeah, it's been interesting switching gears. Yeah.
Well, can you talk a little bit about when you left Hachette
Sure. Yeah.
and, kind of what was going on at that time? And did you already kind of know what you might do next?
Yeah. So I had been thinking for a while. I left in March 2024. So it's been over a year and a half. And I had been thinking about it for a few years before that. I went on sabbatical, which is a
Hmm.
brilliant thing that the company offered. But it really got my wheels spinning of like, is
Right.
this really what I want to do for the rest of my life? What more can I do in this area? I really didn't feel challenged anymore. I had achieved a lot of my goals as a producer, as a manager. I had a lot of employees move on to bigger and better things. So I don't know, I was kind of toying with that over sabbatical, and that was in 2022. So I stayed for another 2 years, but it was always in the back of my head, and the opportunity presented itself for me to make that big leap. And I talked with my husband, and he's like, it's now or never, and if, we're in a good spot, let's do it. So with his encouragement and support, I found parenting coaching certification online because I've always resonated with psychology and relationships. And I realized in my managing people, supervising them, leading them, that's what I was doing. It wasn't just about their work life. It was a balance, helping them balance both. And maybe HR always said I can't help everybody, but I really did try to help them in their personal life because when they showed up to work and they were dysregulated, it impacted what they were doing for us. So I felt they went hand in hand.
Hmm.
But yeah, it was I think a lot of people think when they make this huge career change, they go, 180 completely a different direction. It's challenging, and it probably is for many. For me, it was a very natural, organic progression. It was something that didn't, there was no hiccup in that
Hmm.
that step. Uh, it wasn't even scary. And
Hmm.
I'm very fortunate to be in the position that my husband can pick up this, where my salary left off. But yeah, it was meant to happen. This is my true purpose. And I feel much more comfortable in my skin, much more comfortable with my life, in my relationships, and I wish this for everybody, a lot less stress. It's
Hmm.
a lot less stress. And that's what I absolutely needed. It got to the point where I think so many people get to the burnout stage
Hmm.
that they cannot see what could possibly be next
Hmm.
because they're just spinning their wheels trying to just survive.
Had you, so, you're working, I guess, you said you were at Hachette for 17 years and you were kind of always doing sound, but do you feel
Mhm.
like you've pivoted before in your life? Maybe if
Oh,
not,
another career?
yeah, maybe, or if
Uh,
not professionally, maybe also personally. I don't know.
that's a good question. My career, I went from a record label to a production company, so that wasn't much of a change. My personal life. I moved from New York to New Jersey. That was a big change.
Right. Are you technically in the suburbs now, would you say?
Yes.
Okay.
And we live on a very busy road because I needed Brooklyn sounds.
Hmm.
But now
Yes.
I'm over it. Now I want a forest in a mountain by
Hmm.
a lake.
Hmm.
So, yeah, maybe
So,
one day.
okay. So when you finally did pivot, you said it was pretty smooth, but what would you say the first steps were, and how did you make it so smooth?
Really trying to figure out what exactly I wanted to do in the industry of relationships, mental health, because there's so many fields, clinical practices, there's individual, there's, so much. So marriage and family therapy just aligns so much with my desire to help parents and guardians. I knew when before I became a parent, from working in publishing, I read so many amazing parenting books. And I realized that it's so easy to read these things, but how do you apply all that information? It's without someone to support you who's outside of your situation in particular. Uh, yeah, that was what it was. Like I remembered all these books. I wanted to be the best parent possible. I did not show up every day the way that I thought I would, and the way that I wanted to, and I struggled. So, and a lot of that had to do with like working full time, being a mom full time, and we all juggle all of these balls, keep all the plates spinning. So that was it got me thinking of how else can I help people? I was working with my employees and on my team, managing that when they became parents or even when they got married, and like, how do you balance those relationships with work? So, yeah, I knew parenting of coaching it was an immediate step into the field because it was a shorter program than a master degree. And it was very thorough. It's amazing what I learned there. Who knew I would be so into neuroscience and development and all that stuff. But I really felt that having a graduate degree would support everything else, and it does. So that's where I'm at now, is trying to get that done.
Hmm.
Yeah. So,
What is involved in the coaching degree? Oh,
yeah.
Go ahead. You do that first.
yes. So yes, what is involved in a coaching
So
certificate
for
or?
Yeah, so I'm certified as a parenting coach, which generally is just we learn about brain development in children and adults. We talk about the nervous system and how when you're dysregulated or it's in your body first, you feel an emotion in your body first before your thought comes. And how do we connect the two and respond in a way that's beneficial and productive? We discuss strategies and tools for immediate action in a moment, but then we also look at what's causing those reactions. What's the activator for parents and children, looking beyond the behaviors of children. There's always something underneath the behavior, not addressing the behavior, but what's coming underneath. What else do we do? We do so much. It's so amazing. Those are the big
Was
ones.
it an
It's like
online or in person
it's
process?
online.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm all online because, the
Right.
children and all that stuff. And I'm too old to sit in a classroom anymore. I can't sit still. I'm standing right now. So,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, it was online. It was the Jai Institute for Parenting, which was a fantastic program. When I went to NYU to get my parenting educator degree, uh, I had to hand in the syllabus for JICE to see if that I could do the accelerated program. And pretty much there was like three things that I didn't learn there. And it was more of like court issues and
Mm.
going into schools and hospitals to advocate for parents and their children. So that was the major difference. Everything else was in line. So it's a huge um, dive into everything you could possibly think of when it comes to engaging with not just your children, but with other humans that, whatever aspect of life. Yeah.
Great. So what was your question?
Yeah, so I was just trying to figure out so you decided to leave Hachette. Now, so when you left Hachette to pivot to this career, did you pivot to the learning immediately, or did you pivot to a business immediately? Or like, did you take the classes while you were at Hachette? Like, I'm trying to figure out the
Yeah,
timeline
the
of how
timeline.
you.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah, it's a great question. So I was doing the training for the parenting coach about 3 months before I left Hachette. And it was to test the waters. Like, is this really something? It's no harm, no foul kind of a thing. Uh, I fell in love with it, and that really started to escalate my departure. I started school for the master's degree in January of 2024. So the learning came first. I started my business in May of 2024 once I was certified as a parenting coach, and it's just been building. I'm still in school, so that's part-time, and it's like this slow build, but it's, every day I learn and do something beautiful and new. So, yeah.
So you mentioned you were always interested in kind of the psychology of things, and then you're a parent. How old are your kids? And how many kids do you have?
I have two. My son is 12 and my daughter is 10, going on like, 50 and 80.
How did you first hear about coaching? Like, do
Coaching.
you know other people who are coaches? And was
No,
that no?
no. My sister is a parenting educator and clinician. So I knew that kind of the side of it. I don't know why, I just started Googling stuff.
Mm, yeah.
And I don't even remember what I put in as the search. Quite honestly, I don't like it was one of those kismet things. Like, I must have put in something and it just spits all these wonderful things, or it was listening to me as I walked around the house trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Yeah, but it just came and I saw it, and I looked at two different companies that, courses, and I can't remember the second one, but Jai just really spoke to me. It's interesting because I thought it was the Indian word Jai, which I forgot what it means, but it's actually a woman's last name who started the company.
How is it
So
spelled? Is it J A I?
J-I, yeah, J-A-Y. No,
J,
J-A-I. Oh boy.
right.
So
Right.
what was the most illuminating thing after taking these courses, taking the coaching course, taking the course you're taking now? Like, what's the most illuminating thing that you learned during all this? Like, where did all the books go wrong? Or where do all
Well,
the
the
parents
books,
go
a
wrong?
lot of the books were spot on. What I learned of quite a few things that are, one, I wasn't doing as bad as a parent as I thought I was,
Mhm.
which I really truly believe a lot of parents feel that way. Like, they think they're doing such a terrible job, but they're not. They're not. As one person I used to work with said to me, you can't see the label from inside the jar. So you always feel trapped and like suffocating, but everything is beautiful on the outside. So I learned that. I also learned that all of the books that we read in anything that you want to master cannot really be applied to your life without someone to help guide you. Because again, you can't see what's going on inside of you to make that work, right? You need somebody to hold you accountable. You need someone to redirect whatever negative thoughts you're having about your success and failures. And that's very important. My coach, when I was going through the program, was phenomenal with that. She's like, it's the spin of pressure that we get stuck in, the stress, and it's just this a negative cycle. And breaking those patterns is a big thing that we work on for coaching and in therapy too. It's, we all have routines and patterns, and how do you break them? You need someone to help you with that. Sometimes you don't even realize you have that pattern, right? So looking objectively in is what is necessary.
Great.
So this is a question that you probably don't have an answer to, but I'll throw it out to you anyway. Because as a parenting family coach, one of the things that we've been talking about just most recently was that there's these articles about how parents, and especially I think it was millennial parents, don't want to read to their kids because they think it's boring. And so, do you have any suggestions on how to
Mm.
make reading more interesting for parents to their kids?
Yes, they're all suggestions and invitations, and it all depends on the person. Play, bring the playful silliness into it. I mean, you picture books, right? Those like fundamental, foundational in helping children to know about the world, learn about themselves, help the parent engage with the child and make that, I work with attachment theory. It's the bonding. Uh, so if when I read to my children, I still read picture books to them, by the way, much to my 12-year-old's chagrin. But I do
We love
silly
that.
voices, right? Yeah, thank you. You do silly voices. I've used puppets to act out the characters while they're flipping through the book. You make it fun for yourself, and it'll be fun for your child. And I would love for people to, if they could just step back and not see it as an adult being silly and it's boring, but as an opportunity to really connect with their child and provide lessons, life lessons in a more creative, colorful way rather than, you know, lecturing them. Right? Stories tell, as you know, I mean, you write stories that have, right? You publish things that are so beautifully told, like this is right from wrong, which we can go on forever about right and wrong. Uh, yeah, so that's my take on it is reading to your child. Research has shown this, that it's one of the basics for them to grow up in the world and learn about themselves, their environment, and to have a sense of values.
Um, okay, I have a last question about pivoting.
Sure.
Based on your experience, do you have any advice for someone who is considering a major career
That's,
life change?
yes. If not now, when?
Mm,
And again, I'm privileged in saying that, right? I have my world is very different than a lot of people's. I was always wondering when before I made the decision to go into this industry, I thought I would stay in audiobooks and just maybe go freelance as an audiobook editor or whatever. It doesn't bring me joy.
mm,
It doesn't serve me anymore. So I encourage people to look at what brings them joy. There's a way to make that what you do daily.
hmm
And for what I do daily, while it's very difficult to hear people's struggles and wanting to fix everything and help them and make it better immediately, it brings me joy that the process, I trust in the process of helping people get to where they want to go. And if you sit down and look at all the things that make you happy, there's got to be something in there that you can switch to. Do you have to start over from the bottom? Probably, maybe, I don't know. But what's worse, your mental health and being miserable in the job that you're doing, or making a little bit less money, maybe having ramen every night and some pizza and but enjoying your life. So
hmm
that's my advice is really look hard at it.
Did audio bring you joy at the beginning,
Oh
would you
my
say?
gosh, yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. I love
How,
it. And I still
how,
love audio.
mhm. How long would you say were you having this feeling of, now my work isn't bringing me joy anymore before you
Uh,
pivoted?
Probably a good 3 to 4 years.
Okay.
Uh, I got to the point where, I had accolades. I had done all the stuff. I had produced some really wonderful productions. I had
hmm
the privilege of working with both of you, right? There was just so many beautiful things in my life. And I had done enough and I wanted my team to be able to experience that. And there was a part of me that knew that if I didn't go, none of these people could rise. Like it was always this weird thing. So I stopped producing a lot less and I was more of the manager supervisor. And that's not fun. It's not fun because there's a lot of, corporate red tape. And I'm a very open, um, I treat them as they're like I treat everybody equally. And it just upset me that I had to be like in this hierarchy of things. And it just didn't make sense to me. And that's what the joy started to sap away when I stepped away from doing the audio
hmm
hands-on to being more of the, person behind the scenes, I guess, of, I don't need, yeah,
Management.
yeah,
hmm Okay. So now let's talk about what you're doing now. Tell us about what your job is, what your company is. What are you doing?
sure. The company's name is Family Tree Harmony. I'm obsessed with the tree of life, and it just felt very natural. I wanted to send the message that, my mission is to create harmony in the world. Like I said earlier, one person at a time, it ripples out. Uh, yeah, my purpose with working with people, I do one-to-ones, I do couple sessions. They come in as parents or guardians looking for help with their children, but they walk out with a larger, a more aware, like a bigger awareness of who they are and more self-acceptance, more grace and space. Which when you become more comfortable in your own body, in your own skin, it's so much easier to engage with others. The airplane motto, well, not motto, but the airplane thing, put your oxygen mask on first. And it's a lot of what I teach is emotional regulation, co-regulation, self-care, right? Everyone thinks that if taking a shower, a warm shower is self-care. No, that's maintenance.
hmm
Eating, sleeping, exercising, showers. maintenance. What brings you
It's
joy? Like, what
basic
are,
needs.
yeah, like, I mean, right? So, reading a book. I love reading,
Mm.
thankfully, because I did that for years. Um, and I still do. But that's self-care for me. Like I get up a little bit earlier just so I can have that quiet to read. So that's yeah, so that's you'd be amazed how many people don't understand uh the joy that they can find in just doing one little thing that they appreciate. Having a cup of coffee.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Is there a distinction between coaching and therapy, or do you do both?
Yes. I don't do both yet because
Mhm.
I'm not licensed to do therapy. However, there is a very fine line between the two. And I immediately, my first session with people is I do confirm if they have a therapist or not. And if they do not, I will resource them to someone depending on how the sessions go. Because not every session is this huge, like, I do have a lot of trauma clients. However, not all of them are that way. And they don't necessarily, it is more just a parenting, like, I get frustrated when my child kicks me. That's normal. But yeah, so there is a fine line. However, a lot of the coaching does come up very hard against that line, but I'm very careful not to cross that line because I am not licensed, not yet.
Mhm.
And it's important because you don't want to re-traumatize someone. You don't want to create more issues. It's, do no harm kind of a thing. So, yeah, but a lot of the techniques we use in coaching, I've learned in my master's program.
Mhm.
So
So
there's a
when
lot,
you complete your master's program, will you, or I assume you'll be licensed eventually, or
possibly.
possibly. Okay.
That's another thought process.
Hmm.
Because I have to do a year of internship.
Mm.
And then I have to do 3,000 hours on top of the internship
Mm.
to be able to take the test to become licensed. And I don't want to be 90 when I
Right.
start
So so
therapy.
that's not
So,
necessarily your goal with the program. It's just to
no.
kind of learn
Yeah,
more
it's
to
it's a
help.
great support of
Hmm.
what and I know when in my coaching career, I know when to stop and say, okay, now it's time to bring in someone who is licensed in this. I still, however, feel that if you have a master's and you're practicing it, you're still a professional in the field. You're just not
Hmm.
regulated, and I can't claim that I'm a therapist if I don't actually get the license.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Have you seen any kinds of patterns in terms of the challenges that families and children are facing right now?
Yes. So some of them are communication based, right? A lot of this goes back to the corporate balance, right? Parents are so stressed and burned out by the time they get home they're not available, especially depending on the age of your child too, right? If you have a really young child, they want you. They haven't seen you all day, and it can be really frustrating because you're tired. So there's the snapping and the yelling. So we see a lot of that. With the older children, they have teenagers. Their worlds are so different, right? Parents are at work, the kids at school, hanging out with their friends, doing whatever, and they don't have that connection. So it's communication, connection, social media is a big topic too. When do
Mm.
we give our children social media? How do I help them navigate that world? Uh, yeah, and generational patterns, people who find themselves yelling like their parents did, and they don't want to do that. How do they figure out how to stop that? Uh, Things like that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Is there a specific impetus that makes someone like Google like life coach or family coach and reach out to you?
Yeah, again, it starts off with having issues with their children, right? They think
Hmm.
their child has a behavioral issue. How do I stop this behavior?
Hmm.
And they'll reach out and the process. I have a foundational process. It's a 12-week program that shows them that again, like I said, it's behavior's just information. It's just an indicator of what's really, what needs to be researched, go a deeper dive into what's really going on for that child. Are they scared? Are they being bullied? Are they uh, are they sick? It could be anything. So when usually they come in with this desperate issue of my child's not sleeping, my child's not eating. They're acting out, they have meltdowns all the time. And then we work through the process and figure out what's going on for the parent, why the behavior is so challenging for them to deal with. And then we get to how they can regulate themselves so they can help their child co-regulate.
Hmm. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, we sometimes have freelancers on, and we had like two freelance editors on, and I asked them this question, so I'm going to
Okay.
ask you,
Sure.
what takes up the bulk of your working day? Like, can you kind of walk us through a typical day if you have one?
Sure. Each day is a little bit different, but typically I have 1 to 2 clients. I work on some papers that are due. I definitely am like the grad student at night, just
Mm-hmm.
typing away. Uh, I do some connections. I do outreach, making people aware of what I my service is, and also the what the mission is about mindful parenting. And then before and after all of that, I practice what I preach, and I spend time with my children. I connect with them. I read with them. I dance with them. I play video games with them. I spend time with my husband. We always have dinner together. So it's really just working that muscle. If I'm saying this to others, I need to be able to do it myself. Yeah. So that's a typical day. And then I crash.
Grace, do you want to ask the last question?
Sure. Okay, so this is the question we always ask everybody as well. What's your favorite part of your job and what's your least
Mm.
favorite?
My favorite part is there's a couple. I absolutely love what I do. I love the impact, the positive impact that I'm having on individuals. They're transforming their lives, which helps transform their families, their communities, the ripple effect. It's there's that pivotal moment where they come in this dysregulated fashion, and then they have that aha moment, and then things start to get easier for them, and the pieces start to fall into place. So that's a beautiful thing. And then I'm going to say the worst part of my day, or the worst part of what I do, is not being able to help as many people as I want to. Uh, People coming in with so much anguish and sorrow and suppressed emotion and memories that they just don't want to deal with, they can't deal with. And yeah, there's just so much of that in the world. And I want to help everybody. And I just, I'm one person. So doing things like this, thank you, is helping others know that it's not just me out there. There's a bunch of parenting coaches. There's an enormous amount of therapists out there that if you need anything, we're here to help and guide and support. Yeah.
I just had another question, kind of going
Sure.
more, I guess, into the weeds. But do you, when you take on, say, a client, like, is it sometimes just a one time meeting, or do you have a set, like, okay, we're going to meet weekly for this amount of time, etc.?
Typically, yeah. So I will have what I call a connection call, and we'll go over what's going on for them. And from that, I'll evaluate what I think is the best path forward, and then they'll let me know
Mm-hmm.
what they need, what they think they need. And so typically I promote the 12-week program because again, it's the foundational thing. It's really getting in. But I have clients that I've been with since I started the company,
Mm-hmm.
my first client I'm still with. And it's because there's a lot of trauma there, and we're breaking it down into little pieces. So we don't want to go too fast. But again, it depends on the person. I had one client who came in not for a parenting issue, but for a partner issue.
Mm-hmm.
And she was, 6 months, we were good. She was ready. I was like, you don't need to come back. You're good. Go live your life.
Yep.
So yeah, it depends on the person and what's going on for them. Yeah.
Great. All right. Well, thank you. That was really, really interesting to learn
You.
about. So we're going to move on to our little fortune cookie segment. And we just thought we'd all just talk about what we've been reading lately. So, Grace, why don't you start? What have you been reading?
So, I've been working a lot lately. So, I've been doing a lot of audiobooks. But as I mentioned before, Hazel and I are on a big Agatha Christie street. We're trying to listen to all of them. And so the one that we're listening to right now is The Hollow by Agatha Christie.
Mm,
So, which I think is pretty good. And um, so that one. I'm trying to decide if I should give a summary of it, but what's really interesting about listening to all these Agatha Christie books, like that we've been listening to so many, is like how they're kind of uneven. Like there's some that are really good and some that are like, well, like a little iffy, but as a writer, I actually love that. Like it's so nice to know that like, oh, even somebody who's like, heralded and beloved, who's got millions of books can have a couple clunkers in there, and that's great. Like there's so much less pressure. Like everybody has has a clunker here and there, and that's fine. So,
Are they usually the same narrator for the books, or are they all different narrators?
so she has about like th three main detective V characters, and like they can have all different narrators, but we're like the Hercule Poirot books, which we're listening, they usually have Hugh Fraser. And like then the Miss Marple is usually now I'm forgetting the woman's name, but like it's like usually the same
Yeah,
narrator
that makes
for
sense.
each of their characters. But every once in a while we'll get one off of Libby, and it's a the off the Libby, which is the library one, and it'll be like a narrator we never heard before. And that's the other thing that I found really sad is that like the library audio collection is nowhere near as good as like Audible, like because it's so like you have to wait like 13 weeks and there's only one, and,
Yeah.
and they only have like five or six different titles, whereas like if you buy it, you've got like your choice of hundreds. So it's interesting
There's
to
always
see.
Spotify as well.
Yep.
That's- and
Um, but it
Leo
usually, I
FM.
mean, it's the same audiobook whether you buy it or borrow it from the library, right?
Yeah, the
Oh,
library just doesn't have it.
oh, it's just that you have to wait. Yes,
No, no, they don't even have it. They don't even
oh,
have it as a
as an option.
as an option. Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
which is sad.
that is sad.
But I understand libraries can't have everything. I mean, these are like old books comparatively.
Yeah. Michelle,
So.
what have you been reading lately?
I am reading To Kill a Mockingbird
Oh,
as
Oh.
a part of a book club with my children. I will say that my son is much further in the book than my daughter and I.
mm-hmm.
My excuse is that I work while
Wait,
I'm
is
in
your
school.
daughter 10, did you
She's
say?
10. Oh, you would appreciate. She started reading YA novels with appropriate,
Mm-hmm.
guidance when she was like 7
Oh, wow. Okay.
because, like the small chapter books were just so Grace, she read, oh my gosh,
Was it Where
she
the Mountain Meets
recently
the
read
Moon?
one of, yes, and oh my God, I didn't even tell her I was doing this. She was, oh, not to be, pun intended, I guess, over the moon with this
Oh.
book. Like she loves it. So,
Oh, that's so nice
oh
to
my God, I
hear.
can't believe I didn't share this with her. But she'll say it when it
Well,
comes out.
yes.
Yeah.
That's so nice.
Yeah. Well, I was wondering if 10 was too young for To Kill a Mockingbird, but I guess not if she's reading.
Well, in fairness, she's very into fantasy and imagination, like more imaginative stuff, less realistic possible stuff, because that does scare her. But we're reading it together, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that's why it's taking us longer because we're taking it and we stop, I explain things and
Hmm.
calm her fears about the world.
So
She's
what
very
do you
precocious. Sorry,
So
go ahead.
my daughter as well is this is good. We'll do it like a parenting slash reading thing. So my daughter is 13, but when she was like 11, 12, she was reading all this manga that was so like I was a little like, I don't know about this, right? But she was like, it's fine. I'm like, maybe we should talk about this. She's like, no, no, it's fine. I'm like, but and she's like, I know, it's just, and I remember trying to like navigate, like thinking like, I don't really think this is appropriate for like an 11-year-old or a 12-year-old. And, but she was like, she wasn't scared. She thought it was so fascinating and interesting. And I remember having this kind of weird feeling like, what should I do? And then I remember, Alvina, you were saying, do you remember when we were 12, we were reading V.C. Andrews? And I was like, oh
Yes.
yeah.
And Stephen
And
King. Yes.
yeah, and I was like,
Yes.
okay. And that's when I let it go. But there's always a part of me that's always like, maybe I let her read that too early. So I don't know. I'd love to hear your opinion
The
as a
the
parenting coach.
Yeah, the only advice I could give is as long as you were having conversations with her and she was talking about it, she's able to process it. She knows she could go to you if there was something that was disturbing and she could, share it with you. And that's the same when my daughter does the same thing. It's like, if you have that attachment, she's going to feel safe talking to you about it. And you've created a world where she is safe, so she's able to go out a little bit further and explore different things that might be a little challenging or frightening. She knows that she's safe. So,
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
interesting because, like, to me as an adult, I wouldn't read it. It was like frightening to me, but like it's the
yeah,
same thing. Like I don't like horror things, but she does, like
she
so
does.
it's
Yeah.
so it's all those things.
Yeah. I do think in general, kids are pretty good about monitoring their own levels of what, like they'll just
Hmm.
close it, turn it off if they don't like it. I mean, I find I don't have kids, but the kids in my life all seem to do that pretty well.
Yeah.
So,
Typically speaking, that goes back to like the social media thing. There's a lot of pressure though for them to like something
mm,
that their friends like or that's really popular in the school so that they don't stand out. There's a lot of trying to fit in and not actually belonging. But again, if it's something they're bringing home that they might not necessarily be interested, if the parent's available to work through it, and I invite parents, if it's something that goes against their values, it's okay to say no to something. Like there's a lot of shows I don't let them watch because it's against my values.
hmm.
Um, and I just reiterate, this is a family value. We don't engage in this or that. So
That's a
yeah,
good boundaries to help
yeah,
them set.
yeah, exactly.
So I've been also listening to audiobooks, reading audiobooks. And the two that I'm going to mention is so probably my favorite book that I read this summer was Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I don't know if either of you have read her, but she wrote Daisy Jones and the Six. She wrote this nine wait so there are all his numbers in it. Is it the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which I
Oh,
also
I think
read.
I know that one. Uh-huh.
Yeah, that one is a big book club book. But this was her newest book that just came out this year. And it's about two women astronauts who are, joining NASA in the 80s. It's fictional. And there's a love story and it goes back and forth in time. And I found it so compelling and so interesting. And it made me cry at the end. So I
Oh,
definitely recommend that. And then right now, I'm almost done with 1776 by Laurie Halse Anderson, which is historical
Oh, I've heard
fiction.
really good things about
Yes,
that.
I'm really enjoying it. I mean, when I was a kid, I loved reading Revolutionary War fiction. I wouldn't, this is not set in, I mean, it's set during wartime, but it's about a girl who's working as a maid in Boston when all of this is going down. And so, the British are pushed out, but in the meantime, she was a maid for, a British, I don't know what his title was. I don't know, some official. And when he left, she starts working for someone else. But it's just really interesting and compelling, and there's smallpox going on, and so there's some talk about vaccines, which are really interesting, and I think hold true to the discussion going on right now. But I definitely recommend that as well. All right, so we'll end as we always do with what we're grateful for. Grace, what are you grateful for?
Okay, what am I grateful for? Okay, I'm gonna repeat what I did last week where like I was really, really busy. I'm really, really busy still, but I'm grateful for being really, really busy. Like this is a practice, right? So I'm really grateful that I have a lot of work to do because as I said last week, there's many, many, many a year where I didn't have enough work. So I'm really grateful that I do have work. But the other thing I'm really grateful for is the fall weather. I love this weather. It's like finally I can wear like long sleeve shirts and like a hoodie and long pants and like I feel like for so long it was like I was always just so hot all the time. So it's really nice that it's cool weather and I can get up in the morning and go for a run. And the other day I actually ran with like long leggings instead of shorts and I was like, whoa.
It's officially fall.
It's like, yay, fall. So that's what I love about fall. So that's what
Yay.
I'm grateful for. How about you, Alvina?
I think, it's been a really long week for me, and there were some things that happened at work at the beginning of the week that kind of, were unexpected and kind of felt like I was putting out fires and handling things that were not, in my normal job responsibilities. And so I just I'm just really happy and grateful for the weekend. We're recording this on a Friday. And so after this recording, the weekend officially begins. So that's what I'm grateful for. Michelle, what are you grateful for?
I am grateful for this opportunity, one, to see you both and catch up, and just to be able to share what's going on in the world, and, from my point of view and what the possibilities are for people who are struggling. And as always, I'm grateful for the opportunity for me to pivot and find something that really brings me joy and purpose. So,
That's wonderful.
Yay.
So that was the Pivoting and Family with Michele McGonigle DeYoung episode. Thanks for joining us, and thanks to Alex at Pacey Work Studio for editing this podcast. Please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and tell a friend about it.
And tag us on social media using the hashtag BookFriendsForever, or send us a message via Instagram at BookFriendsForever_podcast, or via our website, BookFriendsForever.com. And let us know what you think of the audio, either good or bad. We'd really like to know. Please join our Patreon. The link is in the show notes.
I'm Alvina Ling, and you can find me at Planet Alvina on TikTok, and at Alvina Ling on Instagram, Blue Sky, and Threads. Michelle, where can people find you?
FamilyTreeHarmony.com, or Michele DeYoung at FamilyTreeHarmony.com.
And I'm Grace Lin, and you can find me at Pacey Lin on Instagram and Threads, and author Grace Lin on Facebook, and Grace Lin author on TikTok. Not that I'm there that often.
Have a great week.
And don't forget to read.
Thank
Bye.
you.